Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hi, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. I'm Southside, and joining me on the show this evening is AK and Robert. How are you, Robert?
Evening, pal. I'm pretty good. Hope you're good yourself. Good to be on with yourself and AK, as always.
Hi, AK.
Evening, Southside. Evening, Robert. The techie guys and everybody that's listening.
Aye, well, what can we say? Thursday nights under the lights at Ibrox, Robert. Sometimes it's just special nights, eh?
It is indeed, mate. It's becoming the custom and the norm for the past few seasons, isn't it? Another performance that gets us through to the last 16 Europa League, which I think some of us would admit wasn't really a few months ago, weeks ago, something we'd thought we'd be in. So, got to give a credit to the team. The injuries and the hands have been dealt with. I thought the fact that we've qualified shows maybe a bit of a mentality that we thought was questionable around players and individuals and the manager. So credit where credit's due, mate, and we march on to the last 16.
Yep, we certainly do. AK, your thoughts on getting to the last 16?
Fantastic, mate. Thursday nights are Rangers nights, and so it proved to be again. Fantastic. Brilliant performance. Brilliant results, should I say, more than performance. Crowd showed up in their numbers again and were vocally behind the team. And all the results that we were looking for managed to get us a top 8 spot in the league table to qualifies directly towards the last 16. So well done, everybody connected with Rangers. Fantastic.
Aye, I think we'll talk about that later on. I think probably for everybody listening, we'll probably talk if you want to phone in. We're going to open the phone lines early and talk about the game if there's anything you want to speak about or anything you think the team's done for the achievements throughout the European campaign so far. Or anything in general. What do you think of the manager? Do you think he's showing signs of improvement and it's just we could stick by him? For some people out there that might have changed their mind, or are you still set on your ways that you don't think Clement's good enough? So we've got that to think about. If you want to use a phone, I'm sure we can chat about it, guys. Robert?
Aye, absolutely, mate. It's always good to get the callers' points of view. We all see the game differently. And as I said, it's an achievement for the club, so it'll be good to hear some positivity around the club, but also we always come on and criticise the game at points as well. As AK said, the performance wasn't all glamorous, but the results are most important. Good to hear the listeners.
Aye, listen, we'll talk about the game now. I think we rode our luck at times. We were a bit lucky, but do you know what? You need that sometimes in Europe, AK. Sometimes we're on the wrong end there. A bit of coming out with a bit of luck. It's a game of football. It's about putting the ball in the net, and if the other team get a chance and don't, then so be it. At the end of the day, we got the victory at Ibrox, and it was an under-strength team that's managed to get the last 3 points in the last game to make it matter.
Aye, well, the guys spoke about it last night, Albert and Oxshare, and everybody that was in attendance at Ibrox. You were going there with a wee bit of expectancy because you have that naturally as a Rangers supporter, but you never quite know how the game's going to pan out because USG had a kind of, they'd a fall in there and they've got to satisfy their numbers. They've done pretty reasonably well in the campaign this year so far, but we've acquitted ourselves well. And obviously the top 8, when you see it Southside, it's Man United, we've played Spurs, Lyon, and what was the other one up there? Olympiacos, wasn't it? Aye. So that's 4 out the top 7, and that's the kind of strength of the fixtures that we had, and we've more than matched our own against most of our opponents. Obviously, recorded a couple of defeats, but we accumulated enough points to qualify us automatically for the top 6, the last 16. So a very good night.
was a good night. Unfortunately, after the first minute, young Leon King, Robert, won the header well as well, but looked like he clashed heads with the left winger, and he was off after the first 10-15 minutes. Obviously, I think got a bit of double vision, the concussion, I think. Felt sorry for him, considering he'd started well, he'd won the header, and the wee cameos that we've seen him, he played okay. But I think it might be the last time he might play for Rangers in a European night at Ibrox.
You're right, mate. It was a shame for the boy. Obviously, his first start of the season, and as you said, he won the header well. He also took quite a hefty challenge as well not long after, but once he tracked back that winger into the box and he went down, you could see right away he's indicating to his eyes that either double vision, couldn't see, and that's what can happen. You can get these delayed concussions, but always to be safer now on the game than later on. You don't want to jeopardise a boy anyway, so it was the right decision to take him off, obviously, with the head knock. It was a real shame because it was a chance for him, given the injuries we've got, to show us what he could do in a game that we're at home. We are probably the favourites to win, and just showcase again what he can do. I know he's been flung in the first team before, but that was a different team and a different expectation, whereas last night was a real good chance for him, and it is a shame for him. And as you say, it might be the last we see him playing a European game, but hopefully he does kick on a wee bit, and once he's recovered from the head injury, he can kind of push to be in the games that are coming up, because we will still need the squad as a whole going into these games in the latter stages of the season in all competitions.
Aye, that was unlucky. Just unfortunate for me, Kia.
It was, mate. It was, and I think that was the kind of talking point at the start of the game when Clement named his team. Was King going to start at centre back, or was he actually full back? But the way Rangers kind of list their teams, the first one after the goalkeeper is usually your right back. So, and obviously Clement intimated that as well. What was it, 10-12 minutes or something into the game, and a couple of heavy clashes had to go off, so that scuppered a wee bit of Clement's early plans. But talking to somebody on one of the forums today, he couldn't understand the kind of substitutes. I mean, you had young Hutton on the bench here, but I don't think young Hutton's played a first team game, so I think that's where Clement turned to McCausland. I know it's not a natural replacement, but he obviously trusts him. We had to shuffle the pack a wee bit more. It wasn't ideal. Feel sorry for young King, as you say, but at least he was willing to step up there for the cause, for the team. And as was the case with a lot of players kind of playing out of position because of injuries, suspensions, limitations in the squad, things like that. But that's what playing for Rangers is all about.
I think he came in well. The only downside was the ref booking him quite early in the game, which I thought would have put him under pressure, Robert. But I think he done well in the position. The boy, certainly the left winger and the right winger, they had loads of pace. The two of them were buzz bombs down the wings. There's plenty of pace out of them, but I thought Ross done well until later on in the game, obviously in the second half when one of the subs and they get moved up one. But I don't know if I thought maybe Suter might have come on, but it being so early in the game, there was probably a plan to give him some minutes, I would have imagined, and that's the reason why we've seen Ross McCausland. But I thought he done quite well, considering.
He done all right, considering, as you say, mate. And when I seen him coming on, I knew right away that Suter didn't have at least, 70-75 minutes in him. You're probably looking at that half an hour, which he did seem to get, which is good to see. The yellow card McCausland got as well. In Europe, you're probably going to get them, but I don't think it was a yellow myself, personally. I think you could tell by his reaction, if you've watched it back on the TV, he wasn't happy either. Some verbals given to the side of the park as well. But overall, I thought he'd done okay. Obviously, he's an attacking player. He likes to get forward. But defensively, I thought he'd done okay, considering their left winger did pose a threat, particularly with the pace. They seem to use that ball quite a lot. But he done all right. But I think having Tav next to him probably helped him with that sense as well. Just the way Tav would have coached him through it and told him when to sit and when to go. So overall, mate, unfortunate for King, but we get away with having McCausland there to do the job, and that's what he did. He just done the job.
Aye, well, first and foremost, we hope he's all right. I dare say the concussion protocol will kick in, AK, and I think he'll have to sit out a few weeks and make sure he's all right and be checked out. But as in maybe getting another game in Europe this season or that, I think his time will be limited now with players coming back and free for injury and stuff. But I was hoping he had a chance to see it maybe the 90 minutes last night, but it is what it is, and it was just unfortunate. But I think that AK, I think it was a bit end to end at the first 20 minutes or thereabouts. I think they showed a bit of pace, like we said, down the flanks. They moved the ball quite quick. I think they were a wee bit sloppy at times, although we had the first chance with Dessers with a header that went wide. But I think up until we score, I think it was pretty much a wee bit scrappy at times. I thought we made it a wee bit scrappy up until our goal.
Mm-hmm. Aye, well, listen, they came with purpose, they came with intent. You know, they've been to Ibrox before, with us previously. So they weren't kind of overawed with the crowd. They knew what to expect to an extent, although it's different personnel. Obviously, the team that we've got now, the players that we've got now, but Ibrox doesn't change. The intimidating factor can be there, particularly if the crowd are vocal behind us. So it was an end-to-end game. They certainly posed problems in our back line, but when you've got a back line made up with a right winger playing full back, you've got a right back playing centre, and the only two one natural defender I would say is proper, because you have to. There is weakness in there sometimes. He can be caught sleeping back post, things like that. So it was a makeshift defence sort of thing. But obviously the sports science, I think, dictated a wee bit of that with Suter being on the bench, and only, he brought him on when he could get him on the park as soon as, and Cerny obviously coming off the park. I think that was also preordained with Clement in the backroom team. So you've just got to juggle the pack as best as you can, and hopefully things work out to our favour, which they did.
Aye, the first goal comes along, Robert, in a set piece for a corner. I'm sure we've worked at it in the training ground, but I think Cerny's pass back to Tav wasn't exactly the way it was meant to happen. But he improvised well and put a great ball into the box. And he was one of the smallest guys in the park, come up with a header.
It was good to see a different variation of corner rather than just lumping it in the box and hoping for a second ball or it falls to somebody kindly. But the pass from Cerny was, obviously not the way it's meant to be, as you say, but Tav does what he does. He controls it well, puts a ball in, back post. And I think Raskin does pretty well taking a generate it as well, because he's at an angle already. So the way he actually headers it in, he puts it away from the goalkeeper, but closer to the post, and it just goes in. And it gets us after a great start. It lifts the crowd. It settles that kind of nervous end to end, as you said, a bit scrappy. Kind of settled a wee bit after that. But overall, that goal was well worked. You can see we worked on the training ground. But for me personally, it was good to see a different variation of the corners, as I said, rather than just hoofing it in the box. Something we don't do enough of, in my opinion, mate.
Well, we always say on here, we need to start scoring for set pieces, AK. And obviously in European night, it's happened. It was a good delivery in that, but something we've been looking for. But it looked a good set piece move, and we got the rewards.
Absolutely, and you're right. It definitely looks as if that's straight off the training field. Great delivery with Tavernier straight into the danger area, and who would have thought we'd asking ghosting in at the back post. Good header across the keeper and fun the far post. So brilliant, 1-0 up. Ibrox was bouncing then. I think Southside's having a wee bit of bother with mute the other night.
The bridge man moment there. I was talking about when it came up and said, no, I was delighted for Raskin to get the goal. He's worked hard, he's played well since he's come into the team, about, I think it was October time or something, if we first come back. But I was delighted that he got on the end of it for a lot of his rewards, because he's not always been getting in the box as much. We've been praising him for his break-up play and the way he's been playing in midfield, Robert. So no, I was really happy that he got a goal last night, and hopefully it'll give him a wee boost confidence.
If you're a betting man, I know you like a wee Super 6 now and again, but if you're a betting man, you wouldn't have Raskin on to score first most times, but it's only a second goal for the club, but he does do the dirty side of football, so he's not going to be known for his goal scoring. But if he can get forward, you know, he's got a bit of a strike on him as well. Might not always hit the target, but he can hit a ball from outside the box, which we always say as well, we don't do enough of just having a pop rather than trying to work it and do the perfect goal. But hopefully it does give him a wee boost in terms of goal scoring, but I think we all know the type of player he is. He's in his job as well, that it is a more defensive instruction from Raskin, but if you're going to get some goals, then that obviously adds confidence to your game. But he has done well since he came in, and it is good to see him, because there was question marks about his future before he came back into his side as well. How does he fit in with coming back from injury? But he's made that position his, mate.
He certainly has. He's been outstanding. If he keeps it up, I think there might be clubs looking at him in the summer maybe. But hopefully we'll have him another season after this anyway, to try and make this squad grow. I think after that, I think the only other sort of contentious decision at that time, AK, was their offside goal. If I'm honest, I have seen it back now and I realised that the player was offside, but my initial thing when I seen it is I thought Tav got pushed on the back when he was jumping for the ball. And I thought that's what they were going to disallow the goal until they announced at the stadium that it was VAR was for an offside decision, which made me think, well, if he's no offside, he's no getting it for a foul. So if it is onside, it's going to be a goal. But I thought Tav got pushed in the back. I don't know what you think.
I would certainly, his arm was on the back of the boy kind of jumping for the ball, and so the guy on the back of Tavernier jumping for the ball, so it could have been gave it that, but as you say, they disallowed it for the offside. Thankfully, the VAR, the lines went in our favour there, because the guy was celebrating with nothing else, for it to be 1-8. So Ibrox found its voice again when it went back to 1-0 Rangers. But now, well done the VAR team for picking up that error.
Do you think it was a foul, Robert, or did you not see that? Did you just wait for the VAR check for offside?
I think in modern day, mate, he always say, well, we'll wait and see what happens with VAR here. I know they check every decision, but I don't know if MD has watched the highlights back or was watching it in telly. When it first came up, the VAR check, it said penalty check. Now, I don't know if they were looking at when the boy was going backwards, if there was a pull on him. I don't know if they checked that or if it was just a technical issue, but the fact it came up penalty, would that have overturned the offside? I don't know the laws in terms of the advantage of plays, but I think it's a coming together more so for me with Tav. I think the guy's trying to get a leap on him, the hand's there, but is it any different really to other pushes you're going to get in the box at corners or during games? I think it would have been very soft if it had been given, in my opinion, but thankfully the ball's come off the boy's knee, and that's what's made the scorer offside, because if it doesn't hit that boy's knee, it stands as a goal and it's 1-1, and then the crowd maybe get a bit nervy, they get a lift, and we look a wee bit shell-shocked with it. So, as AK said, thankfully, it goes in our favour. The VAR works. People can see what they're seeing.
Aye, well, the only thing I noticed at the time, because I thought it was a push, AK, and then from there on, it took us up to the next point. It was the next time VAR was getting used, it was for Dessers. And obviously where I was sitting, I couldn't really tell if it was offside or not. But obviously, I've even I watched back the highlights when I come back, and I've not seen a line drawn or anything, so they never showed you that. But it looked quite close, AK.
Well, when I seen it, in normal time, Dessers did look offside, so I wasn't really looking for much. But when it slowed you down and it showed you a still, I'm saying to my boys, that could be on there, to be honest with you. I did see one line, it flashed up. I don't think they even discussed it at half time. It was actually his back leg, Dessers, that was offside. So, again, VR's doing its job properly, I suppose, but a wee bit harsh, I thought, on Dessers at that point. But again, another disallowed goal, so 1-0 at half time then.
Aye, 1-0. So it was us. We were down to the concourse at half time, and everybody was saying, could see by the table, they must have been showing the table and that, and where we would be. Most people were saying at that time we were in 9th position, which at that time I would probably have took it, to be honest, Robert. If we'd finished 9th, I'd have said fair enough, it was a great effort. But at that time, that was seemed to be the chat, and hoping that we would go in the second half and make sure we win the game first and foremost. But there was a few people saying they were all talking about 9th position.
I think you've seen a few fans as well when the cameras had panned around the stadium, people checking their phones to see other scores. But as long as we did our job on the night, mate, the scores will take care of themselves. And if it's to be, it will be. And for us, it turned out that the results did go in our favour, but we've got to go and win the game as well and focus on ourselves. 1-0 at half time is nervy considering the way the game was going, but obviously the result in the end proved that we did qualify to the last 16 without that playoff, which is a bonus in itself because it's 2 extra games that we don't have to play. It gives some recovery time as well for players to coming back from injury. I don't think the 2 extra games would have helped anybody in terms of fitness and programmes coming back, minutes in the legs, a midweek game again. So it puts that to bed for a bit. But as you say, the chat would have been about the 9th position. And regardless, before the ball was kicked, mate, we were qualified anyway. But as I said, the playoffs was probably one to avoid if we could. But thankfully, the results did go in our favour in the end. But we had to win the game first, and we did.
Aye. Well, I'll tell you what, if it's all right with you guys, I think I'll get the phone lines opened. I did say they were open, but I think we'll just get them opened now if it's all right with you. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
I think it would be fair to say, AK, I think the first 10 minutes of the second half, I think we started a bit sluggish. They were coming right out on the front foot and caused us a few problems. We also had a let-off. I watched it. I couldn't believe Butland came out because I thought he's just going to run round you. But because when he ran out, there was nothing he could do. You know, if he touches a man, it's a penalty. Might have put him off slightly, but I had a feeling that they were going to score. But next minute, Tav pops up with a wonderful block.
Mm-hmm. It was a great bit of defending first and foremost for Tavernier to, guess that Butland wasn't going to get there, so he's defending the line, so it's not a tap in for the boy. But you've got to question Butland's decision making there. If you're not going to get to the ball and you know you're not going to get to the ball, don't commit yourself the way he did, because you're just making an easy finish for the guy then. But credit to Tavernier, he was there when we needed him again. He set up the goal to put us in front, and then he's saved us a goal to keep us in front. So well played, James Tavernier.
I think Tavernier's pace proved dividends there, AK, because I think if that's another defender, I don't want to get back in time. No disrespect to Proper, but half's pace is obviously recognised that. I think that's what made the block in the end. His pace overdone him.
You read it well, Robert. You read it well with getting back and seeing the danger. And it was a great block. And even at that point, the ball come back out. And the boy had another chance because they sort of cut in between the two of them and Butland's come back out. And I think AK's just tried to dink it over him, but I thought he might have put the foot through it, the laces through it, to be honest, that close to goal. But he's tried to be cute, but he's put it over the crossbar. And it was a let-off for us, obviously, at that time.
You're right. No, definitely. It was a big chance, a big moment in the game for USG to draw level with, because I think they might get a wee bit of wind in the sails because, they've obviously scored a goal and they felt it was a wee bit aggrieved with that. Dessers has had a goal chopped off, so they're well in the game still. It was still very much an open game, and the stats proved that. There were nothing between the teams over the course of the 90 minutes, so it was still all to play for.
I'm sure the clock hit 55 minutes, and I think that's when Ignaman, I remember him winning a header. He'd put a cross in, and I'm sure Proper knocked it away, and Ignaman won the header and flicked it onto Bezrami. And just at that point, Dessers started to run wide towards the touchline, and Bezrami played a great pass into the space in the channel, and off went CD9. I was wondering what he was going to do as he was taking it down the line, but I thought he'd done brilliant. I mean, way he took it to the line, he kept his head up, and then Cerny's obviously went to find the pocket of space in the penalty box, Robert, and he passed it right into the path, and it was Cerny sent it the other way away for the goalkeeper with his left foot. But I thought it was a cracking build-up for Dessers, done really well, and the finish was what we expect for Cerny in that position.
Dessers done well. Obviously going wide, he draws that defender out to the flank and creates a bit of space in the middle. Uses his strength pretty well to get to the byline, and he picks it a good pass because he could just fire that across the face of goal, but he pulls it back knowing that, or expecting somebody to be there, and Cerny he's read it well. It's a calm, composed finish because he could lash at it and it could go well with the bar, but he's kept his foot controlled, his body over it, and he's found the pass in the bottom corner. Well worked goal, and I think that did settle a bit of that 10 minutes nervousness, as you said, at the start of the second half. Obviously getting the goal, making it 2-0, a bit more comfortable and a bit pleasing on the eye as well, because they were getting some chances and it did seem to be a matter of time.
Aye, they had that wee spell, like we said, just before we got that second goal, AK, but Bezrami's pass was easy body play right into the space, and CD9 was off, but I thought he done really well to pick out Cerny, and he put it away, and I think then I thought that should be us home and dry now, like maybe add to it, but I thought that sort of took the stuffing out of them at that point, or it should, at 2-0.
Many times have I said before, goals change games, and certainly going 2-0 up at that point of the game just gave us a wee bit of breathing space. But it was you've got to give Dessers credit for the goal and the decision making himself. I mean, we look back in the League Cup final, we were 4-1, and Igamani doesn't lift his head. He's not realised what the runners are doing about him and what's his best option. Credit to Dessers, he did. He was obviously aware of what the sort of players was up alongside him and what would be the best, because he could have taken it into the box himself and looked to get a shot off himself, but he didn't. He kind of delayed his run, drew the defenders in, and he could see Cerny running in for the edge of the box, picked him up perfect, and Cerny dispatched it 2-0 Rangers.
Aye, that was a good finish. I think CD9, I thought he worked really well last night. I thought he grafted. I thought his first touch was mostly on point last night. I thought he'd done a lot of hard graft, a lot of running, and I thought it was one of his better games. And like you say, chances usually fought him, and if he hadn't been offside with whatever, he would have had a goal last night. But I thought his overall work rate, his working rate for the team, I thought was spot on last night, Robert.
Certainly was, and I was discussing this last night with somebody that, for me, since there was a bit of speculation about his future, about would he leave the club. Obviously, went from first choice striker, always in for a bit of stick and criticism, and sometimes rightly so with his decisions and goal scoring. But is it 49 goals in 80 odd appearances? He's got a good scoring record if you look at it that way. But overall, his play since the speculation came in, he's certainly improved and looked a better player. And I think that's down a wee bit of mentality for him as well, that he's recognised that he needed to up his performance, and he's done that. So fair play to the big man. He's certainly he's turned a corner, I think, in some people as well.
His performance last night, AK, I thought probably one of the best he sort of played in a Rangers jersey, and he didn't score. But I thought worked right for the team, and he's overall competing, even trying to go up for headers and that, which is unusual sometimes for Dessers, because he normally looks at defender and backs in, doesn't jump at all. He was unlucky. As we go through this, I'll finish it sort of the game off as we're talking about, but he was unlucky right at the very death. As well, running through, that player was pulling the jersey off him. He was pulling him back all the way, but he kept going, and he could have went down, I suppose, but I think he was more determined to try and score. He missed it, obviously, just at the death. He cut it by the post, but he certainly getting fouled all the way into the area in the last minute or two of the game last night, AK.
He played very well. That's probably up there with one of his best all-round performances, something that we've accused him of not being able to do. I think Agamani coming into the team is he's upped his game a bit now, because he wants to start. You know, Danilo obviously came into the team and he found himself out of the team, even though he was our highest goal scorer at the start of the season. So I think he's come in there with a bit of intent now. His work rate's bang on. His attitude's always, you know, that can't be questioned. But he's developed his game to be in there. He's putting himself out there for the cause, for the benefit of the team. Setting up that goal, magic. Tavernier as well, setting up for Raskin goal. How many criticisms they were having at the start of the season? Big Proper as well. Thought he played decent last night. Diamonde, Raskin. I thought they two were decent last night as well. So a lot of players there that were the supporters were very critical of them at the start of the season, and no forgetting our manager as well, starting to come the gar. So all in all, a great night for Rangers.
Just another thing South said about Dessers was his defensive work rate last night. There was a point in the game where their player broke from Middley Park and Dessers chased him down, used his strength, and then get the tackle in just before the edge of the box. That's a side of him that we've not seen a lot of as well.
I remember it, mate. I was shouting, kick him, foul him, because he was getting too far up the park at that point when he crossed the halfway line. But and you could hear the support for once. The stadium cheered them, you know, because he put the effort in to chase him all the way back, and the fact that he won the ball and done the tackle. And I thought his overall performance last night all round was really good, AK, and I think, like I say, it's probably one of his better performances, although he never got on the score sheet in a Rangers jersey. And he shows the right application. He's always fit, he's always available. And he's probably had he's probably doing a bit when he went from number one striker to number three striker and had to sit out for a few weeks, but he showed the right attitude always when he's come back, AK.
100%, mate, 100%, and it's not all about getting on the score sheet. Fantastic goal he scored last week at Old Trafford. That was, I mean, see when you see that again, that brilliant ball for Tav, you know, floated there, their defence, the way the control, the touch, the finish, brilliant. And then he follows it on with his goal at Tannadice there, and then he follows on another really good. It's all about confidence, obviously, isn't it? So the better results that we get, the confidence starts to flow through the team, and then we get good results, good performances, and that's what playing for the club's all about. Obviously, the expectation is always going to be there. They know they've let themselves down on occasions. That can't be denied. But our home form has always been good this season, and our European results has always been good. So we just need to rectify that away for them, and we're starting to mould a decent team there, because we've got Hadji in the periphery to come back maybe for the Europeans, hopefully. and we've got Inciala chatting at the bit there too, and who knows if we're going to have a signing or two before the end of the window. So all of a sudden things are starting to look decent, where as Rob said a couple of months ago, it was carnage in the club. We didn't know what was happening, so at least we're starting to look a wee bit more positive. The chinks of sunlight are coming through the clouds.
Well, I think that's when we went to 2-0 up. I think I thought, right, it's a good lead. And I think at that point we were trying to increase the lead. The man was unlucky with a couple of chances. They ventured up the park a couple of times, and then eventually they get the goal. And that was the one that sort of changed things for us. I looked at it when I seen where he headed it for. And I'm thinking, what was Butland doing? And I've realised he's off his line a bit. And when goalkeepers get beat for it, they're always about 3 or 4 yards off their line. But at 6'5", and it's a sort of header, and the way it looked up, I thought it's one you should get. If he'd been probably a yard back, Robert, I think he gets it. But it looked a poor goal that we lost.
It's the first thing I looked at, mate, was Butland's position, considering, as you said, the way the ball looped up there and down into the goal. The first thing I looked at was Butland's starting position. It's not the worst position to be in, but I think if you're going to be having a header come in from where it was, you need to be with a yard back and he tips it over or he can catch it. But before that, you've obviously got the player winning the header. The ball in is a good ball, you can't take that away. But I think when you're winning a header there, you're expecting your goalkeeper to make the save if your defender's not clearing it. So again, though, the worrying sign for me, mate, is it's another goal conceded from a set play.
Aye, it's no great when you look at it that way, AK, is it? It's a free header for about 16 yards out, I would have thought. I was just surprised it went in for there when I seen him header it. I thought Butland would probably have got his hand on it, put it out of the bar or whatever, or caught it. But listen, we might be taking the guy a disservice. We're sort of questioning our goalkeeper, but maybe it was just that good a header. It beat a 6'5" goalkeeper for where he was standing.
Nah, no for me, mate. No excuses for Butland there on that one. It's not as if it's in the post. He's starting right in at the corner. It's pretty central. It's poor play for Butland. All right, the guy's got a good head on it for, as you say, 16, 18 yards, whatever it is out there. But it's pretty central. He's 2-3 yards out for his goal line. 6'5". Shouldn't be losing a goal with that. It nearly cost us, but thankfully didn't. Wee bit of question marks starting to come out. His decision, obviously, earlier in the game, he nearly caused us the goal, but Tavernier saved him. He's had rickets at Old Trafford, St Mirren, and he got away with one at Fir Park there recently. I wouldn't be objecting to see Kelly back in there either. I'm not just saying that because my namesake either, but I just think Kelly, Butland slows the game for me a wee bit with his distribution. When the ball gets to him, he's always looking for the defence, play it out for the back. The thing I liked about Kelly is just put it up the park, the way Gorham used to do. Well, 1 second, boys, and if we lose something, well, at least it's 40, 50 yards away from your goal line instead of, silly errors like that. So that's just my opinion. I think we got away with one, that's for sure.
Aye. Listen, I still think he's a better goalkeeper out the two, although he's made some errors. And last night, I dare say, you can question him on the goal that we lost. But apart from that, I think once we brought the subs on, obviously Suter come on and got some game time. And obviously we brought in Inciala and Lovelace. I think Paul Inciala, I think game just slightly passed him by. I think it was just a bit quick, hard to maybe get into the game. I think because at one point when the two of them broke Robert, and I thought, right, he might play a nice ball here out to Lovelace, but it got intercepted, and a couple of times he went to go and shut a man down and the ball was away and he was left stalling, and I just thought, son, it's just a bit quickness, European games, and you're just learning. But listen, it was good the fact that the two of them got on the park, Robert.
Of course, it's always good to see young boys getting a chance to get a few run out some minutes at Ibrox in a European game. It's confidence for them. It allows them to progress in their development. But as you say, the game just seemed to pass by him every time we did see him. He was chasing the ball down, but I don't want to say ineffectively. But as you say, as soon as he gets to the man, the ball's away and it creates gaps. I think he was just keen to just try and showcase what he could do and get on the ball and a bit of hunger, which I don't mind. But he'll learn from it. He'll take experience, and I think it's only his first, or it's obviously his first European game, but first team performance. I don't think he's had many in terms of if it's been kind of league games or cup games. I think he's had some friendly games, but he'll learn, he'll develop, and it is good to see that the manager's trusting the youth. Obviously, we've got to use them. We've got injuries, we've got players missing, but they're there on merit as well. We can't just discredit that they're in there for numbers. They've earned a chance to be into the first team. If they weren't good enough, they wouldn't be picked. As simple as that.
No, you're right. Paul Ince's a really good player. He's technically a good player. Just last night coming on, the adrenaline's probably flowing through him, and he's just trying to get himself into the game. But it went a bit quick last night for the two of them, and the time that he had on the park. Didn't really get a chance to really make an impression, but it's still good experience for them. And they're part of the squad that managed when the game finished that we were in 8th place. So just quickly, if you two want to hit mute, I've got a wee 2 or 3 minute segment for the manager last night and his thoughts on the achievement and after the game. So if you two would like to hit mute, we'll hear what the manager had to say.
I think it's a massive achievement of all squad, and it's really squad, it's not team. It's not 11 players or 14, 15 players, but all squad has been involved in that way, and it was necessary. You see it also today again with Leon King, who had to play at right fullback. Then he had to come off with a serious concussion because he could not see anymore. And Ross playing then right fullback. So we had to be very creative the last couple of months. But everybody digged in, did the job, and did the job brilliantly. Like I said just in Dutch, it's not only being in this top 8, and if you look then all the teams that finish behind you, there are really massive clubs with massive budgets who are behind us, but also in this top 8 from the 7 other teams, we played against 4 of them. So that makes the achievement only bigger, I think.
You've faced a fair amount of criticism in recent months. Does this give you a real degree of personal satisfaction to achieve what you have?
And I said it already 100 times, it's not about me. I'm not in this story about me. And you can write whatever you want about things. I know what we are doing with the club. We explained in the beginning of the season what this club needed, and it was not my choice, it was choice of the board. And they asked me if I would want to step in this very, very, very challenging project in that way. We did, and I do, and I will be on the barricades for this club. But it's good also that people start to see more and more the things we talked about a few months ago, that people maybe didn't believe or didn't realize, that they see this more and more. And this qualification in the Europa League is one of those things that is a proof of that, with all these young guys on the pitch and the evolution that several have made during these months. If you see Nico Raskin playing now, or Diomande, or Igaman, or Jefte, and also the older guys, the experienced ones, helping the young guys and playing important games. And that we have to throw in youngsters, even out of position, but they do the job for the team and they play a good game, like Ross today, or bringing in the really young ones like Paul and CEO and Zach Lovelace, because it was necessary one moment with tired players. So this club is on the right way. Is it fast enough to win everything? We want that. That's our ambition, and that's going to be our ambition towards the Sunday game again. And we need to create this culture. I see more and more this culture also in the dressing room, that they understand what this club is about. That was also one part of learning this new team, what this club is about, and you see more and more of that. Otherwise, you cannot do a performance like that, and for sure with players out of position.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, right on cue, guys. I think we're being joined by old Davey. How you doing, my friend?
All right, Stacey. How you doing, all the boys?
Evening, David.
Evening, David.
Yes, the boys. Keep it coming. Aye, I think opinion on the game. I felt the roads were locked, but as luck goes, we have not had any, and some real garbage decisions gone against us. So we were due a bit of a break at the end up, and plus some of the results went for us. But when you look at the squad, let's take a step back. That was a marvellous result. Marvellous result. And then we lose our centre back. We bring on what you hear say he's a midfielder and he's a winger, but he's been playing mostly at the wing. And he's at full back. I was really concerned there. I really was, guys. But at the end of the day, and they were good. They were a good team. A really good team. I think a lot of people thought they were going to be a bit average, but no, they were bang better than what they were the last time. But I've got to go back to what AK was saying about Butland. This is only my opinion, guys. This was a great game of this show. You see what you think, and either you love you or you hate you. But I think Butland at this moment in time is way off it. I don't think he's got any confidence. And I'll argue the point. There's no way he should have saved that, in my opinion. That man at his height. And I tell you, see if you watch it, when I seen it coming over he nearly punched it, he nearly tapped it into the back of the net. And it's just not the races now. And it worries me because you're playing with a load of a half-back line who shouldn't be there. And you need something to a wee bit more strength there, I think. I don't know what you think of that. I'm just ranting on here.
No, you're right, Davey. No, you're right. Just listen, you've got to call your goalkeeper out, call him out if we think that he's sold the goals, and I think he's been at fault. If you think back to the goalkeepers we've had, Davey, and I'll go to Robert next, right? If you look at McGregor, towards his last sort of spell, he was maybe leaking a couple of goals, but McGregor, even Kloss and Gorham, for talking sake, you could get back Chrissy Woods and all that. You could count in the one hand our 2 seasons, maybe, if how many times they were at fault for leaking a goal. I could probably count in one hand this season the amount of times Jack Butland has cost his goals. You know, what do you think, Robert?
He certainly regressed from when he first came in, mate, because when he first came in, we were obviously comparing him to the likes of Gorham. McGregor could have reached that level, and he was showing traits and qualities that he could be in contention of at least a conversation. But it doesn't command the box anymore. And when the ball does go through your defence, you want to have trust and be confident in your goalkeeper. And right now, there's not many that would still say they've got confidence about Jack Butland making a save or not making a rash decision. And that's something that's coming into his games. The rash decisions, as AK said, the one against St Mirren, wild. The one last night coming out, again, questionable, because if he just stands his ground, the player's going to have a pop at goal or a cut back, but the defence is there. So if it's any other player in terms of an outfielder in the form dips, you're questioning the selection. So rightly so, there will be question marks about him. But for me, he's regressed in what he was when he first came in.
I think when he first came in, AK, I think he was well. I think once England sort of stuff get mentioned in that, listen, goalkeepers sometimes make the odd mistake. You get that, but his form's patchy at the moment, and it's down to him to get himself back together again, because otherwise he'll be questioned and we'll be starting to think we need another goalkeeper. Or some people like yourself will be shouting to give Kelly a chance. I still think he's better than Kelly, but he has to start improving his performances.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Butland's no different to every player that's on the park and the management and what have you. You know, I mean, that's who we are as supporters. If somebody's not doing their job, we'll call them out. Some people with different level of criticism and that, but you've got to call them out as you see it. Tavernier has been called out many times, but Tavernier's starting to regroup and produce the performances, the assists, the goals, and that we know he can. Proper's had his critics. He's starting to acquit himself better. You could get right through their team. Nobody has perfect games or perfect run of forms, but you can grant him a wee bit of slack where the defence is chop and change for the start of the season. It's been inconsistent, but you've got to look after your own performance first and foremost, or even more. You've got to fill the jersey even better than before when you had a full strength defence in front of you, because as Rob says, it comes down to trust. You're the last line of defence before a ball enters our goal. And I just think the errors that he's making, he's putting himself under pressure. I don't know what he thought his presser there before the game, Davey. I thought he looked a wee bit kind of smug, a wee bit arrogant when the presser put it to him, your thing with your error at Old Trafford, and he says, well, I'm experienced now, that'll not affect me, sort of thing. No, you made a wicket there, pal. You cost us a point that could have cost us further qualification. You need to, accept it, own it, and come back and put in a solid performance where you're not going to be making these errors. And there he produces two glaring errors there last night that could have cost us 2 goals. So he's got to up his game. I agree with you to an extent, Southside. I think Butland is our number one keeper, but see when he's turning in performances like that, and Kelly is an adequate goalkeeper himself. It's a wee bit like Neil Alexander when he was understudy Alan McGregor. Neil Alexander was a bloody good goalkeeper, but because Alan McGregor was so good, he didn't get his chance. He didn't want his chance. This is different for me. I think Kelly puts him under pressure, and I don't think there will be many supporters out there shocked if Butland get dropped.
Davey, if you look at it right, that he's not coming out and commanding many cross balls now in his area and stuff, and he's flapping a wee bit. He's been a wee bit rash. Kelly's been good with his feet, distribution. He's made some saves when he's had to. Probably the only one he said himself he was at fault for was probably the Hibs goal when he sort of came out to try and get it when he should have stayed. And he said, even if I stayed, I probably mightn't have saved it. But he said he shouldn't have come out when he was getting blocked. But apart from that, that's all he's done wrong. And if Butland isn't starting to do the basics correctly, then there isn't any reason why you probably wouldn't give Kelly a game and to give him a wake-up call, because I do believe he is the better goalkeeper. I mean, he had some good saves down at Old Trafford and that, but there were saves I expected him to make, if I'm honest. But at the same time, if he's not commanding his area and he's making errors, and his distribution's no great at times, then how could you put an argument up for not giving Kelly a game?
Yeah. I just think Suicide, he looks very cumbersome just now. Where that I get that attitude about him, I don't know, but he just looks like his, I don't know, his timing doesn't look right. And I'm not saying that's the problem with the guy, but what you're saying is right. Is if you've got an outfield player and he's doing that kind of errors regular basis, you've got to change it. But I think the problem is that you've a big squad, you've got a lot more outfield players to change. We've only got 2, and that's the problem. But at this moment in time, I can't turn around and say hand in heart that Butland's the best goalkeeper at the moment. I can't say that.
No, well, he's no. Like I said, we can all pick faults in certain areas of his game since he's come back and before it, and you'll have to brush up on it, Davey. But apart from that, listen, we got ourselves into the last 16, and I know we've done it before in the last 4 years, but I think the achievement last night for the squad we've had, what he's had to work with, and everything, and how much his pressure he's been under, the players, some of the games against Man United. I mean, we've played 4 teams that finished in the top 8. And Lazio won it, Davey, and they never played a team that finished in the top 11. Atletico Bilbao never played a team beyond 14th position.
In this
new setup.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry for interrupting. It was a great night, a great achievement, as you say, when you look at who we got in that section. And what makes it more to me is the way our forum has been in the league. And then we can come out and do that with a team. I mean, that last night, that team we had was a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, half the places, obviously, they shouldn't have been where they were. And we got away with, we held on. But what's going to ask you, do you think, maybe it's a bit late in the day now, but do you think they'll get a centre back in? Because, by God, we need it.
Well, they brought in that boy Fernandez. I'll go to Robert and let him see what Robert thinks, and then AK. But brought in Fernandez, Davy. But we'll see if we're going to add. I think we're possibly looking at 2 more players to come in before Monday. But whether we get it over the line or no, I don't know. But we'll go to Robert first.
I certainly think we'll do business before Monday night. I don't think it'll be a centre back, if I'm being honest, Davey. I think Suter coming back, the boy Fernandez signing, Enciala producing in proper. You've got 4 centre halves there. Obviously, there's been no confirmation of what Balogun's injury is and how long he's out for, but you've got 4 ready defenders. I think we're light in midfield. Obviously, with Barron's injury, you've only really got Raskin and Diamonde that can play in there. So I think we'll do business in the centre mid department and maybe a winger. But I don't see us doing a centre back, mate.
AK, what's your thoughts?
I would disagree with you to an extent there, Rob. I think we do need another centre back. I'm with Davey. The reason why I say that is Balogun's he's no making himself available enough often enough. Sterling, we don't know what's happening. Suter has been injury prone. Granted, in the last year or so, he's been far better and he's had a good spell out of the team. But the way Clement treats players coming back for injuries, like kid gloves sort of thing. So if we were to miss the likes of Robin Proper or even Encialo coming in there, all of a sudden we become bare in there again, and that has been an Achilles heel in their defence. So now, midfield, we might get away with the likes of Bailey Rice coming in there alongside Connor Barron, Raskin and Diamonde to battle that out. Wings, Cerny, McCausland's not good enough. You'll put Endeavour in there, but then we're looking at Cortez. So if we are to bring somebody in or 2 people in, then I would like to see another centre back that can utilise to maybe fall back if there's a problem with a right back, because if Tavernier goes out, we are struggling there. So we just hope we see more bodies to give us a wee bit of freshness, because then we're going to have to repick this European squad, and you've got Hadji to come in there, you've got Encialo, you've got boy Fernandez. So I think the more players we've got available for Clement, the better for them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, if you guys would like to hit the mute button, it's going to be time for a tune, and I know all the troops on YouTube channel are all eager to hear what the tune's going to be, and I'm sure it'll be lively. So if you would like to hit mute, we'll hear the tune.
Talk to me of glory's past, of the famous ring.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Do you like that one, Davy?
Aye, but where was that played? An old record player.
I know.
You'll
need to sort the sound out.
It sounded like it was coming from Big Al's in Houston, Australia. It's a good tune,
It's a good tune once it's getting belted out for the Rangers and Davy, as always, you know. As we're saying, now we can sit back to March the 6th for the first away game. The teams that we obviously can face after that is Fenerbahce, Anderlecht, Bodo and 20. I believe Fenerbahce's drew Anderlecht and Bodo is playing 20. Think there's anything to fear, Robert?
I mean, you look at the teams, mate, on paper, you'd probably say winnable ties. I think probably the tricky one, if you want to categorise it as that, would be going to Fenerbahce, just going to Turkey with the atmosphere. But other than that, mate, no, I would look at the games as confident that you could progress into the quarterfinals with that, mate, if I'm being honest. But you get to say it is until March. It gives the players time to recover. We'll have a stronger squad by then, hopefully, as well. Touch wood.
Aye, we'll certainly have a couple of 3 additions, Davy, that we can put into the squad come then. But listen, I don't really fear any of the. I mean, they've got to come to Ibrox. It's all right saying you might get Fenerbahce and you have to go there. Listen, been in that stadium before. It's quite intimidating, but it's loud. But listen, it's just got to be exactly the same when they come to Ibrox, Davy.
Oh, 100%, you're spot on. No, I don't see it in there to be concerned about. But what I would be concerned about is with the way we our half-back line in the goalkeeping situation, we would be a lot weaker against these teams at this moment in time. Hopefully we get the centre-backs back and be more confident. But I don't see it in there in the teams to say that we'll not do it. Because if you look at the section that we just come out of, I mean, we were absolutely robbed at Man United. And that was down to we know what. So it's been a great campaign. And they just seem to pull it out the hat in these European nights. And I must say, I must congratulate the crowd. I thought the young guys were tremendous in the back end they got. I sort of could hear old Bradshaw in the back there shouting and bawling, but maybe it wasn't him. Must have been Stevie. But no, a great backing, a great night. It was marvellous. But we can't go in any further unless we get that back line sorted, guys, because that is definitely our Achilles heel at the moment. Everything's coming in. I mean, I close my eyes. And it's not just lately. We've been prone to this for a wee while. But we don't seem to get eradicated. And I don't know, maybe the answer is, as Brad says, get a big set. But that to me is not the answer. But you need to get a stronger backline, guy.
Seen the back of their left centre back last night. Bridge would have been happy, probably, you know. AK, I think by the time March comes, that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was going to say, was that the boy Lammers look-alike?
Aye.
You look a bit like Sam Lammers.
Well, he might have a chance to come back to Ibrox and all. They've got a chance. We could face 20 if they get out, if they beat Bodo, and they're in their I think their season's finished. They're in pre-season or something like that, that Bodo. So 20 might fancy their chances against them, and then it will come down to the draw. And you might see Sam Lammers back at Ibrox, AK.
Aye, well, wouldn't mind it. But listen, can I pose a wee question to you, the panel, and the rest of the listeners? I was looking at the results in Europe. Where was the result that kind of gave you belief that we actually might do something? I'll run through them quickly, and you can gauge your thoughts. Malmo away, 1-2-0. Lyon home, get beat 4-1. Stoya Bucharest at home, we won 4-0. Olympiacos away, drew 1 each. Nice away, 1-4-1. Spurs home, drew 1 each. Man United away, we lost 2-1. And USG at home, we won 2-1. But can you pinpoint a particular game you went, we could do something here? Southside.
I was more...
Somebody want to take over? He's having bother with his mute button tonight.
Well, my answer to that, Ali, is last night. That's the game I think out of them that you picked.
Last night, our last game that we could actually do something in Europe, we'd already qualified.
Aye, but we didn't know we were getting into the last 8.
Oh, aye, that's true. At the top 8.
And
Right,
when we went into that, when we went into the game with half a team.
Aye,
So that was
right.
a big game.
Okay, aye, fair enough. Rob, and then Southside if he comes back.
I think for me, probably 2 games, but I'll pick one. The Spurs game was probably the one I'd pick, just because of who it was. You can obviously English Premier League side and all the circumstances around who manages them and things like that, the way they play the kind of attacking football. But I thought the Spurs game, because that's a game where although it's 1 each, we should have won comfortably, and that's not being biased at all. I thought that was a real top performance from us. But I think another game you look at, mate, is the Nice away game. I know they were really poor, but we were really, really good that night. We took our chances, and it was 4 going on 14. So that's probably 2 games. But I think the Spurs game, just because it's the English Premier League side, you look at and you're testing yourselves at home. And although, as I said, it was a point, it should have been free and a comfortable victory. And that's not being biased.
I agree with that. Southside, you back with us, pal?
Aye, after the Nice game, I thought we had a good chance. I know Spurs still with the squad they've got and they're a Premier League team and all that, but I kept having a bit of heart. I always think we can beat anybody at Ibrox, whether the odds are stacked against us or no. You're at home, and I always believe that we can win, and with the support behind them. We've done it many a night with early years, maybe with better teams and squads, but listen, it's a name in football. And that's the way I look at it. And I thought after that, when we got to draw, obviously against Tottenham, unlucky, to win that night. And I always thought we could get down to Manchester and get something. I just believed we could, but stacked against you and all. But in there for them, and on the night we were unlucky. I said to you before it, I thought we could comfortably we'd get 9 points in the 3 games I picked. As I told you before, was the game last night. Malmo away and Steaua Bucharest at home, and I thought there's 9 points guaranteed. We should be able to get Tottenham. I believe we can win, but will we do it on the night? And we got a point. And obviously Lyon was the only one that I thought we would have bet as well, but they came and they had a good forward line and they were good, and they've finished above us in the table. And like I said, we've played 4 teams in that group. But the managers believed all the time as well. Robert, Davey, he's always been positive. You heard him speak last night, you've heard him speak before. We'd never go and park a bus, we never go and look to defend. We're always looking to buy as if we'll go and play our own game, as he's always said. And in Europe, listen, we've done really well. You can't say we've no, and to finish in the 8th, whether we get a bit of luck with other results or no, we could have been further up that table. If we took extra points, Davey, and I'll come to be Alice here, and I'll come to
You got me? Aye, you're right.
Aye, on you go, Davy.
Oh, no, sorry. Carry on.
Oh, on you go, Davy, sorry.
No, it's just I was just I was saying, aye, I feel come on. We all know that, but Glasgow Rangers, the way we have been, and then when you get the puddle drinkers marching away with that league the way they are, he's been getting it big time, and everybody's. I know it was Albert. I'm with Albert on. This is not just a couple of months sorting out case. This is going to take time. And some of the comments and remarks that guy's been getting is absolutely, it's been pretty disgraceful, I think. But I say that's just my opinion. Probably people are shouting a total load of crap. But I think I felt really pleased for the man last night. I was over the moon for him. I was over the moon for everybody, the players, the whole staff, with everything, because it was something that we badly needed. But come on, he's been getting it, I think, really way out of order. And I think he proved last night, and I think he's upset it. How he said to me, when I see McCausland come on, I said, what's he thinking about here, you know? But when you look at the bench, you know, he only brought McCausland in, I think, to keep tabs with that winger for his speed and just be an annoyance. So that's everybody's getting him on his back about. And I was thinking myself, what kind of change is that? But that's where we're there at the moment. And, you know, I think he's done a marvellous job.
I think he deserves a lot of credit last night. Backroom team, I think to support everybody that supports us, everybody out there, everybody on the panel, the whole support out there needed that last night. I think, and it's good. I'm happy that he got the result and how well he's done with the squad. But like I say, it's a results-driven business, and there'll still be people out there that will not think he's the right man for the job. But at the end of the day, we can partner the European campaign till March, and hopefully we can add a few players to it, and we'll see where we go from there. How are you doing, Al? I hope you're on your lunch break or something and no getting paid for this phone call while you're talking to us.
If we only had the Rangers over here. So well said. I actually am on a lunch break, so you called it. I don't know if you can see me.
What's your thoughts, on last night, the achievement?
Oh man, that was such a great game, such a great win, such a great Europa League tournament for us. We had a lot of great teams in the top four, and we played against them, right? And it was amazing. I was watching actually the table. I was watching the table. We were 14th and then jumped up. And it wasn't until I think Nice scored in the 74th minute that we jumped from 9th to 8th. And I was like, let's hold on. Because we had to have about 6 or 7 games go our way, and they all went our way. And it's absolutely unbelievable. And like you said earlier, I would have took 9th. But I'm so glad we can get that break, because the running that we have for the next 6 games is amazing. You know, we have 2 Saturday games at 3 o'clock. So it was just perfect. It was meant to be, you know, but what a great performance, and everybody deserves credit, fans, manager, and the players.
Aye, do you think we had a few standouts, Al? Who did you think? CD9? Was a good game?
I think what we're building is a team. We always look for those standouts. Like, there's great players like the Michael Moles and people like that, but Eggman's just standing out. I just watched on Instagram there. He had a little flick at Kevin McAllister. McAllister was all over the place. He didn't know where the ball was going. And so he's a standout. But I think a lot of them were pretty much tired. It's been a long campaign. It's been a long couple of games. It was a rough Christmas period. Players have been getting it in the neck. Not really from fans, but always from the media. But yeah, no, I think we're building a team. And that's what we need, a team that works together and moves as a unit, you know?
Aye. Well, I think last night probably, I'll come to Davey and then I'll come back to across to Robert. Davey, I think last night, it might have been that they were quite good technically up front and they were quick, certainly quick, but I thought out of all the European games that we've played, I think we gave them a wee bit more space, although when you look at the whole game, they had a couple of wee sort of chances in the first half, which you'd expect, and then it was a flurry right at the death. But up until the the goal. They weren't doing much at that point. We were on the attack, but I think it was just knowing that we couldn't concede another goal, and there was a wee bit of panic setting, and they got a couple of late chances in the game. But I thought that was probably the only time we gave teams a lot of space in Europe this year against us.
Yeah, well, then here again, you've got to get back to the team that we put out. I mean, that was just, as I said, it was a jigsaw puzzle. And what they done was amazing. Okay, we rode the luck a couple of times, but we've not had anything like that, so we're due it. But I still think they were a quality team against a team that team just stuck together with Laughterplus. And they came out and talked. And that tells you volumes about the player and all this nonsense about the players are not playing for the manager garbage. Some people want to look themselves in the mirror.
Aye, I know. Listen, everybody's entitled to their opinions. I get that. Sometimes you try and look at the bigger picture. We all hurt because we weren't doing so well and dropping points in the league, and we all know what that means to us all. And we want to get the team up the league and make sure we were winning it. But you look at the bigger picture, and the home form's been good. The away performances have been good in Europe, Robert. We've got the Scottish Cup still to compete for and get to a final. Okay, we got to another one. We didn't see it over the line in penalty kicks. But I think you can see an improvement at times. We just need to keep the consistency, and we've got to keep the away form. We've got to rack up the points, and that'll not be we go to Hearts as the next away game, which is a few weeks away. But I just think you can see improvement in a lot of the players, and they've just got to make sure that they're consistent enough on the park to get the results that matter.
That's the main word, mate. Consistency. We've had times where we've had a good run with a few wins, and then we find a hurdle, whether it be a tough European fixture, i.e. kind of Man United. I know I'm not saying it was a tough game, but you know, like that kind of opposition, or an away game where you drop points where you don't expect it, especially like it's a Motherwell St Mirren. But you can see an improvement in terms of the team as a whole, but obviously individuals. I mean, I give an example. Came from third choice striker, told it was a long-term project with the boy, and he's came in. He was awarded the Player of the Month today, deservedly so. You have to see his performances improving week in, week out. Raskin's improved since he came back from injury. It is all clicking together. Yes, we'll get injuries and we'll get bumps on the road, but it's how we manage that. In the past few weeks, we've managed it better than what we did previously. So credit to the players, credit to the manager. And I know we're all, as you said, hurting and frustrated at times we lost points. But last night, you take it at a standalone point. It's an absolute amazing achievement to qualify for the last 16 without the playoffs, with the squad and with the hands we've been dealt. There's so much factors going against us at times, and we've achieved probably what was, I dare say, not the aim. I reckon we'd have aimed for qualification through the playoff, if I'm being honest, but we've went to the last 16 automatically. I think that is a great achievement with what we've done. So you've got to give credit where it's due. Yes, we'll be frustrated at times, but sometimes, as you say, you look at the bigger picture and you've just got to take your hats off and say, we've done well and we've deserved it.
Aye, I certainly have, AK. Plus it puts money in the bank account for getting into the last 16, and then obviously you're getting €450,000, I think, a win in that. We've had 4 wins, 2 draws. So aye, so we're starting to rack up some money, which is important. But obviously, the league's more important to us all, as we appreciate. But at the moment, for what we've done and what the club, don't get me wrong, the players will be happy. They'll be getting some bonuses for that. Don't let's kid ourselves here, AK.
No, definitely. And by the way, you're all spot on in what you're saying. I think we're on the same page that way. Listen, there's opinions out there. People will disagree with us. Of course, they're entitled to that opinion. But I just see the way forward, the way we were going. Sacking managers has drained the finances of the club. So every new manager that was coming in, they were coming in with different ideas. They wanted their own players. We couldn't get rid of players because of the previous contracts that was promised to players. They weren't playing. It was an ongoing terrible loop that they were on. and now Clement has managed to weed a lot of the players, the big earners, out the door. We've seen Matondo and Dow leave as well, which hopefully frees up that player or two for what we're looking for. I think the fact we're qualified automatically into the last 16 stage, we've got to learn from previous mistakes where we didn't back up. The likes of Gio when they qualified for the Champions League, he didn't get the players that he was looking for. If the board can afford to free up some sort of funds now, where it's just even wages or something like that, just give him, help him where he needs help in different areas of the team, because he's doing his bit, for the club. He's improving the young players and that he's bringing in. We're starting to knit together. It's a long process. I know how long do we wait, because we've waited long enough, but we're 4 managers down the road now for Gerrard, so unity, stability, that is the only way forward for us. So we've got to back Clement now, for me, until the directors are that see fit otherwise. But no, well done Clement, well done the players, and well done the supporters for sticking with them.
I thought even though we've won the game, I thought the referee last night I thought he was pretty shocking at times. There was one I couldn't believe, and I don't know, I'll try and jog your memories on it. If you've seen the game last night, proper barged into one of their players in the back, who barged into Raskin, and the ref blew for a foul, and I thought he's giving it to them. He actually books their player. That was one I seen. Diamandi getting pulled running out of the halfway line. He get pulled back. Ref blew the whistle straight away, but no booking. Normally when you tug a jersey in an air and I should have, and somebody's running away for you across the halfway line, you get a booking. He didn't book him, and we Igdaman had a tackle for that McAllister, I think, which was probably a bookable offence. But I thought somebody's decided, and especially late in the game, he just started to get card happy, didn't he?
Oh man, absolutely shocking. I thought he was employed by the SFA, that guy that was on the pitch in black last night. I was listening to it on the radio, and that's what they were saying. They were saying the decisions were horrible, and I think even the lines last night were off, because I'm sure that goal was a great header by that guy, but I'm sure he was offside, and so I'm not sure Odessa was offside either. So there was a lots of things going on last night. It was weird. It was like I don't know. Somebody was out to get us, but we made it through. But I thought it was horrible, and I was thinking, expecting Europe, these referees to be a little bit better. But I hadn't had a chance to watch it back. But I seen a few highlights, a few tugs of jerseys, Dessers in the blocks and stuff like that. So we never got nothing. So I didn't know what was going on last night. But yeah.
But did you pick up Davey? Sorry, Bial, on you go. No, how do you go, Bial? Sorry, I thought you'd finished there. On you go.
No, I was going to say, before we change the subject there a little bit, hi, Davey.
Hi. I'm doing all right, son. Don't you? You keep going. You're playing a belter.
Hey, Robert. Yeah, you guys just talking about AK had a great point there with the manager, right? And we can go back on the ref as well. But the manager needs a lot of praise. And when he says he's not here for his ego, he's 100% right. And he wasn't my first choice, but I'm so glad he got through the hump there, because people wanted him out and they were hoping he was going to get sacked. But I'm glad he stayed, because what he's doing is absolutely amazing. Because if you think about on a transfer history, right, he's had 3 windows, right? 2 winter windows and the summer window. He's only spent 13 million, right? Brendan Rodgers, he spent 60 million in his 2 windows. Ange Postecoglou spent 50 million in his 2 windows, in his 2 seasons, and Rodgers too. So 110 million over 4 years. How can we compete, right? If you even went back to 2012, Celtic have spent 206 million in the transfer market. Rangers have only spent 75 million. They're outspending us. So for us to compete at the League Cup final, for us to beat them off the park 3-0, and the shining light is this is a young team we're building with talent. Celtic's an ageing team. Rodgers is showing that he doesn't know what players to buy. That's why he brought back, I believe, Jara, try to get Tierney back. Because if you think about the players he put on at the last Old Firm game, 8 of them were bought by Postecoglou. And the only reason Smeko's in goals is because Hart retired. Because if Hart never retired, I bet you any money he'd still be in goals for Rodgers. So the only players Rodgers plays that he buys is Bernardo and Kuhn. So he doesn't know what he's doing. So, and I think he is all about his ego. So I hate to talk about them, but I think what we're doing is a future long-term plan. It's not a short-term goal. And you'll see the fruits of this in the next year or so. So, you know, but I knew this year we were never going to be able to compete, you know.
No, you've got a point, Al, regarding Brenda. If you actually look through when he's managed teams down in England or not, he can't build a team. He's never had to build a team. He's been in, used other players, other managers' players that were there, and he'll buy a select few. But he's never really into the team building. But aye, listen, if that's the amount of money they've spent, and listen, we've done them, and I think this time we go up there, and I think we've got 2 games to play them. We might have 3 at the end up, but in the 2 league games, I think this time Robert will be a lot more prepared to go up there this time with our team and our squad.
Aye, 100%, mate. And a big factor of that as well, when we get back up to the earth ground, will be the away fans are back. I think that will have a massive impact as well, mate. I've always said it.
Yes, we're back by unpopular demand.
For me, Southside, you need both sets of fans at the game. I get the whole, it's a full stadium with your own support. I understand that, but if you're looking at it as an atmospheric game, you want both sides. It adds the drama, it adds the excitement, and when your team goes behind, your fans are always behind you. So being back, I think that's going to be a massive influence as well on your side. But as you said, I think we'll be stronger. We know what to expect. They're not great. I mean, I know there's a points gap, but they're not great at all. And I was right. The team they've got, it's an inherited squad, and they are bringing back players like Jota, Tierney. That doesn't give me any fear whatsoever. But most importantly, it's what we do in our business between now and Monday, how we can manage players coming back from injury and go on a run between now and the end of the season. The Europa League's put to bed till March. You've got to focus on the league. You've got the Scottish Cup in between. But right now, it's the league that you've got to focus on. And I know it's a points gap that you'll look at and say, it might be a stretch too far, but we just keep digging in, and that's what we've got to do.
Aye, that's it. And it all starts on Sunday, AK, when we've got Ross County at Ibrox. Looking at the sort of team in the squad that we'll pick. But first and foremost, it doesn't matter who takes the park. It's a must-win, 3 points, and I'd like to hope we can get a few goals past them at Ibrox.
Aye, it's back to domestic stuff. That's the glamour of the European stage put to bed, as you say. So we look forward to that in March. So we're back to domestic. Back at Ibrox, we've got a great home record against them. Ross County will come. You know, they're on a wee bit of resurgence in form. They've got themselves up to 10th in the league, just above Kilmarnock, and cut off a wee bit of St Johnstone. You know, so they're battling to stay third bottom or above. But there's no much between actually Ross County to then go up to Motherwell. I think there's only like 6 or 7 points in it. You know, so a run of 2-3 victories for a team like Ross County could shoot them up the league. I don't think it will happen Sunday. I don't expect it to happen Sunday, but we've got Insiala, Hadji available again. So I'm expecting a comprehensive victory. That'd be nice.
Aye, well, talking about victories, I think it's only right that we find out what's going to happen this weekend in the Super 6. Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for February the 1st. My first selection this weekend is Hull to beat Stoke. The second selection is Sheffield Wednesday to beat Otten. The third selection is Birmingham to beat Rotherham. The fourth selection is Port Vale to beat Accrington Stanley. The fifth selection is Newcastle to beat Fulham. And the sixth selection is Everton to beat Leicester. If you take all six, it pays 32 to 1. Well, AK, how could you not?
I think Terry will be kicking you off this call.
I know. Well, you've got to, haven't you? But I will. Well, I'm getting abuse already.
Good luck anyway, pal.
Anyway, that's Saturday's predictions, 32 to 1. Do you know who I thought had a good game last night, Davey? I thought Diamonde done a power of work last night. I thought he was all over the park. He was absolutely shattered. But I thought he put a power of work in last night for us, and it was something we missed last week down at Old Trafford. And he could carry the ball up the park and that, but I thought he done a power of work last night in there with Raskin.
I 100% agree with you, Suicide. Spot on. I just like to say to Al, he was made some marvellous points there, really good. And people want to listen to that and let it sink in. He was great. Raskin was a bit the odd on there, but Jeremy was, I could have thought he could have done it, but they all contributed. Can I just ask you this, what you think of this? I'm only looking at it the way I'm looking at it, guys, is see the European football, the way the games are played. I think that suits Rangers more because there's more space. But when you go back to the Scottish League, it's break it down time. And that's where we are sort of stumbling at that moment. Because every other team that come in the European game, we can get in behind them. But when it comes to this 5-5 block, I think that's the difference between watching the football and watching your kind of football in the league.
Aye, I get what you're saying, Davey. I'll come to wee Al. Aye, and it's the way they set up. And maybe it's the way we referee the game up here and all, where you say, aye, it's a tough league, so go up there and they kick the shit out of you. Do you know what I mean? And you see what happened at Dundee United at Tannadice. I mean, they had 6 goals before he decided, I don't think he maybe booked him, but he had 6 kicks at our players and there was no one of them at the start were booked. Maybe if he'd booked him then at the start and you say, no, we're not taking this brutality, because see, at the end of the day, we're turning up to watch football players try and play football. You want to see Cerny, Hadji, Igdaman on the ball and showing the bit of skill. You don't want them getting chopped every time they get the ball and you think it's acceptable and then they're not getting booked on it. So maybe it's time that we sort of maybe some teams should take a look at themselves and say that's not how we should be playing football up here, because see, when they go into Europe, I'll guarantee you if Dundee United make Europe, we all, right? The style that they play and they sit up and play defensive, that's not going to progress them anywhere in Europe. Hearts only done it to a point because they were in the group stages, but anybody else that goes into the competition in the first 2 rounds get emptied out straight away.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's another point I wanted to talk about, referees, because my 2-page letters went to a 5-page letter now. But the referees, there's an old saying, right? Get your tackles in early. And at Dundee United, I was fuming. They kicked us off the park, and they never got any. The decisions we're getting is absolutely disgraceful. Our players are not getting protected. So I think that's another reason why we struggled. If you even look back at the Dundee game, they celebrated that 1-1 draw. I think it was 1-1, wasn't it? They celebrated it like they won the World Cup. It was, they're just kicking us off the park. And that's that shouldn't be allowed. The players need to be protected, but the referees just don't. They don't, like Walsh on the weekend. They just don't want to give anything to Rangers. There's something there. But the more we call it out, the more we put the pressure on, the more we say it. We don't want to go down this route saying, oh, we don't want to be like them. No, we have to be like them. There's no point being in a boxing match and tying your hands behind you and letting another guy punch you. You have to fight back and you have to punch. You're in a boxing match, and this is a fight. So, and it's great that Column's coming out with his watch thing, and I watched the ref watch for the English, and all those English ref watch, they were flabbergasted on that decision to send off Diamondi. So all these things highlighted benefit us. Make it harder for them to make all those decisions against us, and I think that's one of the reasons why these new players we brought in have struggled, because they're like, what the heck is going on, But once we get that sorted, I think you'll see us doing better for sure. It can only get better, So keep that pressure on those refs.
Would you? Robert, what do you think when you see some of the tackles? You seem to get away with it up here, and everybody seems to say, you got up here and they're physical and everything's they're tough. And I heard Kyle Fissell talking about it at Kilmarnock. He said when he came up here to play in Scotland, and he said that the other one that plays up front for him, the other striker, Watkins, played down in England and that, and they said it's totally physical up here. It's a totally different game for what you get down in some of the leagues in England, surprisingly.
I mean, you could probably say that every league's physical. It just depends on what level it's on. I think we can see clearly that when we are going away to a ground, whether it be Tannadice, Easter Road, Tynecastle, the first thing that they want to do is put the foot in, because especially when we are in the position we're in terms of injuries, they'll see it as a weakened side. Let's lay a marker, let's take somebody out of the game, force them into a change, disrupt them. That's their tactics. That's not football. That's just going out to hurt players. And as Al says, some of the decisions that you see the players being kicked lumps up and down the park for a good 20-30 minutes before even a talking to is done or a yellow card, it's scandalous at times. But that's the level that our referees are at. I mean, you can say they're part-time, they don't have the right coaching. You don't have to be a referee or a footballer to know when you see a bad tackle that deserves punishment. And it has just been going on far too long in our leagues that it's no longer, for me, physical. It's just at times brutal. And that's because it's a tactic that they want to use against our club. Hurt our club, hurt our players, and that's what they want to do. It's a dirty side of football, but it's not football.
Well, SPFL released the fair play table thing. They do it every season. And up to now, there's one being done with the amount of fouls per ratio of yellow cards up to now, and as this season's going on. So I think I'll let AK come in it, and he'll be able to give you the gist of it, and you can maybe see where some issues are happening. And this has just been repeated over the last few seasons, but this is the fair play table that will be released at the end of the season. And up to now, this is where it's standing at regarding yellow cards per fouls and stuff. So I'll let AK come in.
Yep, no bother, mate. I'll just read it out for what you sent us there, and it's an interesting read, I'll tell you. Right, Aberdeen, 3.9 fouls per yellow. Dundee, I've got 5 fouls per yellow. Dundee United, 4.6 fouls per yellow. Hearts are 5 per yellow. Hibs are 6.2 foul per yellow. Kilmarnock are the same. Motherwell 5.7 fouls per yellow. Rangers 5.4 fouls per yellow. Ross County 5.6. St Johnstone 6 fouls per yellow. St Mirren 5.5 fouls per yellow. And Celtic are allowed 9.1 fouls per yellow. So quite substantial difference between Celtic and the rest of the clubs in the SPFL. To Aberdeen, who are just short of 4 fouls, and Celtic are allowed 9 before they get a yellow card. Quite substantial, mate.
Aye. So that's the fair play table and as it's been hanging. I think on that as well. I think the team for the other end of the city had 36 fouls in the game, and they picked up 1 booking. I'm not saying every foul's a booking, obviously, but if you commit 36 fouls and you've got 1 booking at it, it speaks volumes, does it not? Davey?
Aye, but I'm not even going to talk about that monkey mob, because we all know where it's coming from. So unless the top gets changed right down to the middle. It's just going to keep happening, and we've just got to take it and go on with it and ignore it. As we were talking about before, put the ball in the net, and then there's no argument 2 or 3, 4 times. You don't need a ref, you don't need, well, you need a ref, but you don't need VAR nor his stupid refereeing decisions. Get it in the net, that'll do for me.
I think what we're highlighting is you need to try and keep your ball players sort of safe, Davey. When we've got football players now on the park, like you've got Bajrami, you've got Hadji, you've got Cerny, you've got Ignaman, you've got Raskin, Diamonde, and so far, if you look at the last couple of games, in 3 and 4 games, even get back to the St Mirren game at Love Street, they were getting hefty challenges, blocks, pulled off the ball, manhandled. Aye, and it's just not getting dealt with by the referees. That's what I'm saying. You can see it happening on a weekly basis. And Tannadice was prime example of that before leading to the carry on with Diamondi. But that aside, when you looked at some of the tackles that our players took, and there was no action, took it straight away, just played play on.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely terrible, and that's why Command was absolutely fuming, especially at the end, because he just watched his players get kicked up and down. But there's no protection, and the referee's scared to make a decision because he doesn't want to send somebody off, because then he's going to get people saying, "Oh, you're biased against whatever Rangers," right? And then so. But what they're doing is, and these other players are just taking advantage of it. So kick, and it's that stat is a great stat, like how many fouls you can make before you get like a yellow card. It's ridiculous, and that's the reason why we need to call this out and see what it is, because Davey's right too. Put the ball in the back of the net, but the thing, and then you win the game. But the thing is, if Diamondi gets sent off earlier, or if you're never going to be a cheat. You're never going to be a cheat. I used to play my brother Monopoly for years, and I couldn't understand why he always won, because he was cheating. He was taking money out of the bank. You're never going to.
You should be switched on there, we all.
You can't. You can't. It has to be it's fair play, fair game, and it has to be equal. Because as I hate to say cheat, but I just think they've got an unconscious bias against Rangers for sure, and and an unconscious bias for the other teams as well. So it's terrible. It's terrible what's happening. That's what I believe.
I think the referees in Europe don't seem to have a problem using the red card against them anyway. They seem to be fine about it, So, but anyway, as we lead up to Sunday, obviously it's not a glamour game as we would normally think, but it's a game that you need to be winning. It's a game that brings for the higher doing well in Europe. The players need to switch back on now and get back to a league game at Ibrox. I'll come to Robert and see if he wants to maybe enlighten us with some of his team selection, and we'll see if for Costain, I'll stick Robert on the spot. What do you think, Robert?
Well, obviously you've got players that weren't eligible for the European game coming back. I'm sure we'll hear tomorrow the likes of the fitness of Danilo, who obviously wasn't in the European squad but didn't make the league game prior either. So I reckon Butland starts in goal. I think he keeps his space, if I'm being honest. As I said, I'm with you, Southside. I think he's a better keeper, but his form does need to improve. The back line, I think we'll see a normal looking back line, if you want to say it. Tav, Proper, Enciala, and Yefty. I think Suter will be on the bench again. I think he'll come on just to get some minutes in the legs later on. Midfield kind of picks itself, I think, by Raskin, Diamondi. I'll go Cerny, Hadji, Ignaman, Dessers.
You go with that, Davey, aye?
Oh, all day long.
What do you think, AK?
I think he's looking at my sheet. That's what I had wrote out as well.
You told me to send it earlier on, that's why. 5 to 8. What's your team for Sunday, Rob?
That'll be right. Back my end, mate. Do your homework. Looks like a decent team on paper.
None of you think, I know there's a week's rest in between, none of you think if he did start Suter, he would dress proper? and play NCL.
He could do. But you know what he's like though, mate. It's kid gloves with guys returning. But it's a possibility. Who's to say he might leave Raskin or Diamondi out and start Bailey Rice as well? You know?
The only thing with Bailey Rice starting would be Diamondi bursts forward in that. Bailey more sits as a 6 like Raskin would do. I think if you played the two of them, I think it might be a bit like playing Barron and Raskin together. One of them's got to get up and go forward. It usually goes as a runner and carries the ball up the park. I don't know whether that's my only thing about thinking like that, AK. Although you could try it and see if it works, but I'm not sure if it would work. But I think Bailey would probably get game time in the second half if Diamandi starts. I think you could bring Bailey Rice, Finlay, Curtis, give them game time. As long as we're up 2 or 3-0, I'd like to think.
Yeah, these young guys have proven to be capable, but that's another issue that we're dealing with, right? We're getting these young guys in from the academy, which you said he would, and it's actually amazing when you think about all these young players, because that's never been the history of Rangers, right? It's very difficult to get the young guys in, and other teams don't do it, you know, the bigger teams don't do it either. So these young players, I have confidence in them, even in Salah at the back, Rice. We've got a good young team, and they're experiencing these games like the European games and stuff like that. So they're good. But you're right in what you say there about the week break, because we've got 6 games, right? We've got, what is it? Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday, and a Saturday game, and they're all a week. 4 games at home, 2 games away, right? All got a week break, so we're going to get a lot of the guys back, and this is what these guys need. They need that rest, because just like Ox is saying, and even Tavernier said that last night in his interview, they don't get a chance to train because it's game, rest, recovery, right? So yeah, so I think that team that you're talking about there is a good team, and I think we get that break and give us energy.
I think in the next 2 games are Ross County and Sunday, and then we've got Queen's Park. I think we've got a chance to try to change it a wee bit at times and give some players a rest, which is a good thing. I think, Robert, coming up, we've got the weekend between now.
We do, mate. But as you said, you've got to keep kind of the momentum going. Obviously, last night's win, we've got to get into league form. We can't take it for granted. It's going to be 3 points. You've got to go and work hard for it. That's why I'd probably start the strongest team possible. And then, as AK said, if the game allows, let the substitutes come on, the younger players, get them some game time, and kind of see the game out. But the week's rest will be beneficial for the likes of Suter. I think that's why he'll come on maybe in the second half. Maybe even start the Queen's Park game and then come off again, because that's a good maybe 90 minutes over 3 games he may get, or just over that. So that'll be minutes managed by the management and the sports scientists. But I just think you've got to go and start the game well, get a comfortable lead, and then bring the changes.
I know. I was sorry. Didn't realise I was on mute there. I was talking. I think probably the starters strongest team you've got to start with, and then look to take a couple of them off. And I think that's what the manager will probably look at in hindsight. Do you think Fernandez could make an appearance, or do you think it might be more the Queen's Park game? I don't know if he'd be eligible. Would he be eligible for that Brown Scottish Cup? I don't know if he needs to be registered or not. Do you think he might make it, AK?
No, probably no. But when do you see him though? That's the thing. When do you integrate him to give him minutes in the team? Is he fit? It's one of them. I don't know whether he needs to be registered for the Scottish Cup. I would take it he would have to be, but I think it's about consistency and selection. As far as we can go with what's available now, it's probably most beneficial to getting a consistent run of results. And obviously, it's still As long as we've got league game fixtures to play, we'll play it down and we'll try and win every single game and see where it takes us. We're down to 10 points the now differential. It's not where we want to be. We'll probably expect that to go back up again at the weekend, but then we've got an opportunity to bring it down again. So he's got to try and pick his strongest available team now to try and get a run of wins. So I would say no.
Yeah, no.
Aye, maybe just a case of we've signed him and maybe integrate him in, and he was on the subs bench at Tannadice. He was actually stripped. It was as if he was getting ready to come on, and then it changed it. So he was obviously in the manager's thoughts, Davey, at that point. And we're only speculating, but Proper's played a lot of run of games. But he might have to ask him to go again, and then he maybe drop him against Queen's Park to give him a rest before, because although we're playing weekly and there's no a midweek game, but you want him to get quite good recovery time because the next away game is Hearts away, and he'll have to make sure he's picking what he sees, but he'll pick in defence then, because Suter should be back. Whether he'll stick with Proper at Enciala, that will be the decision for the manager. I think it'll probably be Proper and Suter at that point, but who knows in the manager's thoughts, Davey?
I think you're spot on, but I think Fernandez's case is that he's still a bit raw to the club, and where he is at the moment, he's only there because realistically that's basically all we've got, really. So I think to bring him on at the beginning of games, I don't think maybe against Queen's Park, but you still got to go there, get up in the game, and then bring him on game a good bit. But at the moment, I thought he looked a wee bit raw last night when he came on. Okay, he didn't have much time, but I just think that it's too early for him now.
Aye, you're saying that, and I would have said the same thing about Big Clinton and Ciala, watching him for the B team, Davey, but he's come in and he's done all right, and that's the thing about it. Sometimes you've got to fling them in and see how they cope. It'll be interesting to see once Suter's back fully fit, and obviously Balogun, I think he'll be a couple of weeks away. He's got a tear in one of his muscles or his thigh or something somewhere, so however long that takes to recover, but I'd imagine he'll be a few weeks away. And obviously be Clinton, Ciala, Fernandez obviously included, and Proper. I think that's how I think we'll probably not be a centre back. We'll add, if we can get anybody, I think you'll keep that nucleus there. We all now that they're all back fit, not be down to who he pairs, but I think you'll go with Suter and Proper. I think that's what will happen. It's no thing with the big man Ciala, but I think in certain games for experience, I think he'll put it out with the two centre backs.
Yeah, I think you said we always talked about bringing in a centre back, but I think you're right. I think I hate to say it because we're so scared of injury, but Proper has came on, and Suter, and I think we're good, and that's why Fernandez has came in, and Ciala is going to be a good player. He looks kind of like Joe Aribo, doesn't he, with his tall kind of stature, but yeah, I think we're going to be covered there. So I don't know if they'll bring anybody else in. To be honest, when does this window? Does it not shut at the end of January?
Monday.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if he's going to bring anybody else in. Definitely, if anybody.
We brought in Kevin Thompson, AK, back to the academy. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I seen that earlier, pal. Rangers announced it. Head of academy, Kevin Thompson. I think that's a great move. Really do. I think he's got the experience. He actually running his own academy sort of thing. He's also, as well as being a player with us, he's also been a first team manager at Celtic Hearts. I think he's big on youth development. So recruitment between him and he's going to be in charge of obviously development. The young guys, Coppin, Clement, I think they're all looking for guys on the same page. And basically, we're trying to utilise our academy the way we should be doing as a club. We buy players, young players in to progress them into the first team, and that's not really been happening. Clement is fielded 14 players, young players already this season. So he's given them a taste of the first team. And you know, and it can only be good for the future of the club if we've got all these young boys bursting a gut to try and make that first team. But you've got to have that pathway, and I think that's where Kevin Thompson's a great appointment for us.
Aye, all the young boys, Ross McCausland, etc., all the boys that were there when he was there the last time, they all thoroughly enjoyed him. They learnt a lot from him. He installed all the principles of the club into them, Robert, and they all speak highly of him. And I think it's a good addition to the academy that he's coming back to the club.
I 100% agree with yourself and AK, mate. I think it is a good addition. He's a player that knows the club, knows the expectations, and a kind of a trait that he's got the passion, he's got the hunger and the fire. So I think we'll see a lot of that get put across to the boys in the academy. The issue is now to create that pathway for them to progress from the academy into the kind of B team, and then obviously the first team with that view. So no, welcome home, Kevin Thompson.
Good appointment, Dave, for the club.
Good young bear. He knows that that's what we need. Marvellous. Good for the club.
Push your score prediction, Davey. Sometimes you don't like to give it, but what would you think for Sunday before we wrap the show up?
I'll take. I'm trying not to go too high here.
No, aim high, Dave. Aim high.
I'm going to put €10 on you. You're 6. I'll go 4-0. 4-0 for the Bears.
I would take that all day long, we are.
Yeah, I was going to. Actually, Davey, I was going to say 4-0 too, but then I realised we always give away. You know, we always give away an easy goal, so probably be 4-1, buddy.
Never get a goal against the Rangers, we all. Come on, you can't be having that.
Schoolboy error, we out.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying I will. I'm just saying Butland will.
Well, hopefully no. I suppose they've got big Jordan White up front, haven't they? He's a bit of a handful for set pieces and that, and obviously they've got the other boy.
Simon
Aye, and they've got that McHale.
He's at Dundee now.
He's at Dundee. They've got McHale. The boy McHale, I think they've got the striker. He seems to be banging in a lot of goals. Just before I go and we round it up, I'd like to turn around and say it was great to hear the Rangers support give the last year a minute's applause in the 39th minute last night at Ibrox. So I'd like to thank everybody that took part in it. So some people didn't know about it round about us when I went into the stadium, and I mentioned it to a few of the boys round about us. So it was fitting that the support done that for the last 39 years of age. It went to Ibrox and never come home again, sadly. Hey, Bial, your last thoughts, mate, before we wind the show up, pal?
Well, thanks for taking my call. It was great to call in, and good to call in, and thanks for taking my call, and appreciate that. And let's go the Rangers. We are the people.
Correct, Davey.
It was great getting the feel good factor last night and no surrender feeling. So thanks again, guys, and you all stay safe, and God bless the Jers. Good night.
Right, Davey, thanks for phoning in, mate. Appreciate it as always, and same to you, Bial. Always good to hear you phoning in. Robert.
Good show tonight, mate. Well done to yourself and AK. Al, Davey, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to a good game on Sunday, and I'll take a 3-0, mate. Cheers for having me.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much. AK.
Great show tonight again, pal. Well done yourself there for hosting. Stepping into the shoes of the Ox Jet. Thanks to Davey and Wee Al for joining us. Rob, brilliant. Can I just give a wee shout out to my mum and dad? I was in seeing them today. Two of them aren't keeping that great, so I said to my wee mum I'd give her a wee shout out. So I hope you're keeping well, wee, and improve your health. But thanks again, mate. On the Rangers.
Aye, no, first of all, I'd like to thank you two for helping us out tonight. It's always appreciated. Enjoyed your company tonight. I'd also thank Davey and wee Al for phoning in. It's always a pleasure to hear the two of yous. Like to say thanks to all the usual troops in the YouTube channel for tuning in tonight, as always, and also everyone else that listened in this evening. Thanks to Old School Blue and Fox for doing the show. I think we'll be back on Sunday at 2 p.m. for the pre-show, I believe. And I'd hope come Sunday we'll get 3 points in a Rangers victory, and I'd like to think we can put 3 or 4 goals by them on Sunday. So as always, we fear no foe, and there's only one team and one crown. Take it away, Foxy boy.